The movie begins with Peter Parker, a shy, brilliant high school student who's often invisible to everyone around him. He chases a bus full of classmates who laugh at his struggle until Mary Jane Watson, the girl next door, kindly tells the driver to stop. For Peter, that small act of kindness means everything. Inside, he takes the only empty seat, alone. That day, Peter's class visits a university science lab to study genetically modified spiders. His best friend Harry Osborn arrives with his father, Norman Osborn, a wealthy scientist and head of Oscorp. Norman immediately notices Peter's intelligence and potential, something his own son desperately wishes he'd say to him. Inside the lab, Peter is fascinated by the spider research, snapping photos for the school paper. Mary Jane stands nearby, and Peter nervously asks if he can take her picture. Just as she smiles for the camera, a missing mutant spider drops from the ceiling and bites Peter's hand. It feels sharp, but he brushes it off, unaware that everything is about to change forever. Meanwhile, Norman faces his own crisis. His company's military funding is on the line unless he can prove his experimental super soldier serum works. Against the warnings of his colleagues, Norman tests it on himself. The results are catastrophic. The serum enhances his strength but shatters his mind, birthing a darker, violent personality, the Green Goblin. That night, Peter collapses in his bedroom, sweating and feverish as the spider's DNA rewrites his own. By morning, he wakes up transformed, stronger, faster, sharper. His once weak body is now powerful, his eyesight perfect. When he looks in the mirror, he barely recognizes himself. At school, Peter's newfound reflexes kick in. He catches Mary Jane mid-fall and snatches her lunch tray from the air in a single move. The whole cafeteria stares in disbelief, but when a bully named Flash Thompson picks a fight, Peter easily dodges every punch as if time slows down. One accidental hit sends Flash flying across the hall. Terrified of himself, Peter runs away. In an empty alley, Peter tests his powers. He scales walls, leaps incredible distances, and discovers webs shooting from his wrists. It's exhilarating and terrifying. That night, inspired by Mary Jane's dream of owning a car, he decides he'll buy one too. He just needs money fast. Spotting an ad for a wrestling competition, Peter sketches designs for a costume and creates a crude red and blue suit. His Uncle Ben offers him a ride to the library, but Peter snaps at him, frustrated and distant. Ben only tries to talk to him about growing up, but Peter storms off, words unspoken that he'll soon regret forever. At the wrestling ring, Peter enters under the name The Human Spider. The crowd laughs. The announcer mocks him, calling him Spider-Man. Within minutes, Peter knocks out his opponent with ease, earning the promised prize, or so he thinks. The manager cheats him, refusing to pay in full. Moments later, a thief robs the office and runs past Peter. The manager begs for help, but Peter coldly lets the robber go. "Not my problem," he says. That choice will haunt him. Outside, flashing lights and sirens fill the night. Peter arrives to find his Uncle Ben shot during a carjacking. He rushes to his uncle's side, but Ben dies in his arms. Grief turns to fury. Peter hunts the killer through the city, swinging between skyscrapers with newfound purpose. When he finally corners the man, he realizes the murderer is the same thief he let escape. The shock consumes him. The man stumbles and falls to his death. Justice, perhaps, but no peace. Broken inside, Peter returns home and embraces Aunt May. The words Uncle Ben once tried to tell him now echo in his mind. With great power comes great responsibility. From that day forward, Peter vows to use his abilities for good. While the city buzzes with reports of a mysterious masked hero, Norman Osborn's darker side takes full control. As the Green Goblin, he destroys Oscorp's competitors and slaughters anyone in his way. Spider-Man is born just as his greatest enemy rises. Peter graduates and begins a new life, secretly fighting crime while working as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. The grumpy editor, J. Jonah Jameson, calls Spider-Man a menace, but can't deny that pictures of him sell papers. Peter sells his own photos under the radar, balancing two identities that constantly clash. One night, the Green Goblin attacks a city event, bombing the plaza and terrorizing the guests. Spider-Man swings in, saving civilians and locking eyes with the Goblin for the first time. Their battle rips through the celebration, explosions lighting the night. Spider-Man saves Mary Jane from certain death, but the villain escapes. Their rivalry has begun. Later, Norman, tormented by his split personality, argues with his reflection in the mirror. The Goblin mocks him, telling him they must join forces or destroy Spider-Man. Norman refuses, but the voice in his head grows stronger. Soon there's no line between man and monster. The next day, the Green Goblin ambushes the Daily Bugle, demanding to know who takes Spider-Man's photos. Jameson refuses to betray Peter, surprising even the hero himself. Then the Goblin gasses Spider-Man unconscious and kidnaps him, offering a twisted proposal: join him or die. Peter listens silently, conflicted, but deep down he knows there's no alliance with evil. Days later, Peter runs into Mary Jane again. Their friendship deepens, though she's dating Harry Osborn, Norman's son. When she's later attacked by thugs in a dark alley, Spider-Man saves her in a thrilling fight under the pouring rain. Hanging upside down, he removes part of his mask, and Mary Jane kisses him. It's a moment that becomes legend. The kiss between a hero and the girl he can never truly have. But the Goblin's obsession with Spider-Man intensifies. Disguised as a burning building rescue, he traps Peter inside and strikes. A fierce battle erupts amid the flames. Spider-Man escapes, wounded but alive. The Goblin now knows his greatest secret, how to hurt Peter Parker. During a family dinner, Norman notices a wound on Peter's arm, the same one he inflicted on Spider-Man. His eyes fill with realization. Later, under the Goblin's influence, he attacks Aunt May, leaving her hospitalized. Peter's worst fear comes true. His double life has endangered the people he loves. As Aunt May recovers, she urges Peter to confess his feelings to Mary Jane. But before he can, the phone rings. The Goblin's voice taunts him. He's kidnapped Mary Jane. When Peter races to save her, he finds her held hostage on top of a bridge. The Goblin gives him a cruel choice: save Mary Jane or a cable car full of innocent children. With his heart pounding, Spider-Man leaps into action, refusing to choose. He catches Mary Jane with one hand and the cable car with his web, balancing between life and death. As the Green Goblin attacks, the city's people rally behind Spider-Man, pelting the villain with debris to protect their hero. With courage and determination, Peter saves them all. Furious, the Goblin drags Spider-Man to an abandoned ruin for one final showdown. The fight is brutal. Punches echo like thunder, debris rains from the ceiling, and both men are pushed to their limits. Beaten and bleeding, Peter nearly gives up until the Goblin threatens Mary Jane's life again. Fueled by love and rage, Spider-Man fights back with everything he has, overpowering the villain. Cornered, Norman removes his mask and pleads for forgiveness, pretending the Goblin was someone else entirely. But Peter's instincts scream danger. The Goblin secretly activates his glider to strike, but Spider-Man's reflexes save him. The weapon impales Norman instead. His last words, "Don't tell Harry." Then he dies, both man and monster. If you were Peter in that moment, holding the body of the man who was both your best friend's father and your worst enemy, what would you do? Tell me in the comments below. Haunted by guilt, Peter carries Norman's body home, laying it gently on the couch. Moments later, Harry walks in and sees Spider-Man fleeing the scene. Believing the hero murdered his father, Harry vows vengeance. Peter says nothing, carrying the secret burden alone. Time passes, and at Norman's funeral, Mary Jane confesses her love to Peter. Tears fill his eyes, but he turns away, knowing Spider-Man's world can never mix with hers. "I will always be your friend," he says softly. She doesn't understand why, but we do. As the sun sets over New York, Peter dons his mask once again. The city needs Spider-Man, and no matter the cost, he will protect it. Swinging high above the streets, he embraces his destiny. Not as a boy bitten by a spider, but as a hero forged by pain, loss, and courage. And that's how Peter Parker became the one and only Spider-Man, the symbol of hope for a city that never sleeps. With great power comes great responsibility. So what did you think of this classic? If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Great Animation Recaps for more epic movie retellings. Stay tuned, because every hero has a beginning and every story deserves to be told.